So I wanted to continue the conversation about the whole dynamic of divorce on a larger level. And that is what I experienced myself, as difficult as it was to leave the known, as difficult as it was to learn new ways of coping, behaving, and creating new situations that I was unfamiliar with and have to learn how to navigate them as a single woman. Um, it's also incredibly challenging to look at the idea of changing the dynamics of a larger institution, and here I'm really talking about the country, the family of America. What if we were to take on looking at what it would mean for us to change the dynamics that are really not viable, that we're now living in and continuing to reenact with one another? The dynamics of basically judging each other as right and wrong, and then acting on the basis of who's better and who's worse, and suppressing and dominating one another to get whatever we believe our perceived gains are. We know those dynamics don't work in a relationship. They didn't work in my first marriage. They were unsustainable. And part of what I'm here to say in my new book, America in Therapy, is that these dynamics are just as unsustainable on a national level. And what would it take for us to step back and look at that and have the courage to say, war is no longer an option. Nuclear weapons are globally totally unviable for us and all the species living here. Hatred is unviable for our children, for our young people growing up, and for the marriages and the relationships we're now in with each other on all levels. What if we had the courage to say this isn't working? Economic suppression, racial suppression, gender suppression, these dynamics of human behavior that don't work in marriages and don't work in families don't work in a country. And what if we had the courage to step back and do the healing work that it would take to totally change our dynamics with one another, so that we open up the possibility of not just losing something, which is what it feels like and what it felt like for me when I left my marriage. Like I was losing, I thought, everything I had ever wanted. Um, but to look at it as the opening the door to to the possibility of creating a totally different life for the people here in America and for people worldwide, which is actually what happens as a possibility when we leave behind things that are unhealthy. What if we could look at more economic equality, racial equality, gender equality, the access to education equality? My belief is, and I don't think I'm alone in this, and I think it's sort of obvious, we'd have a better place to live for everyone because people would be fulfilled. People would feel like they were cared for and that they belonged somewhere. Just like when we do those kinds of things in a family, the family is healthier and the individuals that come out of the family are healthier. So I'm actually talking about a divorce, not from one another, but a divorce from the ways we've been and adopting a new way of being with one another that is sustainable and psychologically healthy. And that's what I'm really talking about in my book, America in Therapy.